Brian came down one morning. He had a phone put in for work and there was a call for me. He came down at like 8 a.m. in the middle of the night. Paul was awake for work listening to GLR as he lay in bed in the front room waiting to get up. I was doing much the same, being a light sleeper, except I was waiting for him to go to work so I could go back to sleep. But then Brian comes down. Paul lets him in. "There's a phone call for you," he said. "What?" I said from behind my bedroom door and underneath my various blankets. Or rather, "Phone," he said. I probably swore not quietly enough for him not to hear me. When I got up and opened the door, Brian had gone back upstairs. I followed him, left Paul to an instant coffee and the contemplation of the drive to South Norwood. Brian's door was open. I pushed it open. Radio 4 was on. Left Terry was walking around without enough clothes on. He was pretty hairy. He looked like if he tried a full body dry shave, he'd set himself on fire. I tried not to see. The phone was in the front room. "Hello? Hello? Daniel? I've been arrested." "You've..." "Yeah, I've been arrested. I thought that was yesterday." No, I got arrested again." "For fuck's sake. I need some money to get the van back from the pound." He made it sound like a stray dog. "You're asking me for money? The van? I need my cash card to get the money out to get the van back." "Oh, yeah? It's in my room. Can you bring it?" "It's 8 o'clock in the morning." "I know, they just let me out." "Oh, for fuck's sake." "Well, yeah. Where are you?" "Paddington Green." I went down there. It took hours. Train over to Highbury, the Vicky line down to King's Cross, then the Circle line to Paddy. There were thousands of people just going places. Work, I suppose. How would I know? Why should I care? It was really crowded, just terrible, all pushing and shoving and rushing. Everyone going somewhere nobody wanted to go. The rat race. Plenty of runners, no winners. Dan met me on Pride Street, which if you were Latin you said pride, but if you weren't you didn't. I couldn't care less. It was better than fucking Hackney, however you said it. There were some Japanese people taking photographs of the bus stop. The mainline station over the road was built by Brunel, but they were taking pictures of the bus stop. There were tourist shops selling anything red. Little double-deckers, miniature beef eaters, model telephone boxes, Coke. "So, yeah, hi." We found a cash point machine. Daniel took out 100 quid. The bank had refused to extend his overdraft, but forgotten to cancel his card. He had a 100 quid limit on it every week, so every week he could take out 100 quid until they stopped him. Fair enough. They stopped my overdraft too, my new overdraft, but they remembered to cancel my card. Sheer refusal to admit it to myself kept me going, but times were hard. I mean, middle class hard, which means I didn't have enough money to buy books and get drunk every night. I hated my fate, which means I felt sorry for myself for getting into this mess, which was my fault anyway. It's shit being anyone, because you're always someone, and there's nothing worse than being whoever you are. I watched as Daniel put his card in and went through the screens. They should have had a screen saying, "Are you fucking kidding? Press yes or no." The money came out. He folded it into his magic fish embossed free-range eco-cloth wallet. We went to the pub, just opened. We get the van later. "I got a job," Dan said suddenly as we walked. "Why?" "I won't starve." "You're hardly eating now." "It's at City University, the registrar's office." "What's the registrar's office?" He shrugged. "You haven't got any clothes. You borrowed my jacket for the interview." He had that haunted look again. We stopped outside the pub. One of us said, "What am I supposed to do?" Inside the pub, it was West London still. Dark, scarred wood, brass fittings, open fireplace, dusty red vela seats round round tables in rooms the shape of broken bricks, opaque words written backwards on the windows. There was a song playing discreetly somewhere. Opulence hung in the air like a duke on a gibbet. A few customers come to get a few quiet moments in before anything started. It wasn't a rough part of town, mostly cheap hotels for the prostitutes and diplomats, but if you knew where to go, you could still get a perfectly good kick in. There was a man reading the paper sitting at the bar. The bar staff were probably South Africans or Australians, working and travelling, only one of which I wanted to do. We ordered Guinness and a pint of cider. The more on, the merry down. I looked at the blackboard menu and worked out the percentage of things Daniel couldn't eat. Apart from the chalk, it was 100%. There was a fireplace, no fire. Somebody put dried flowers in the grate, but I don't know if this was kindling or art. This was West London, after all. We sat down and started smoking. The song changed to I Ain't Missing You at All, the old John Waits tune. The traffic mumbled outside. We drank. That's what we were there for, us and the traffic. I'm not sure I was thinking anything. I generally don't think during stuff, but kind of ruminate about what happened afterwards on my own. I like my experiences like I like my coffee. Filtered, not instant. The unexamined beverage is not worth drinking. What happened then? I got arrested in Brixton yesterday outside that pub. I know. He'd bought a load of dope in the most obvious place possible, some notorious Rasta pub in Brixton where there are no drugs at all, ever, and walked round the corner straight into a policewoman eager to up a quota. She'd taken him back to the station and put him in a cell for a few hours. He didn't like it, mainly because if they didn't let him out soon, he'd miss a Roy Harper gig in Harlesden that night. They did let him out, and I saw him back at the flat when he came back to get more money for more drugs to take to the gig to give to Roy. Lesson learned then. Totally rehabilitated. So what happened? Well, I went to the gig and they stopped me driving the wrong way up Oxford Street on the way home. They breathalyzed me. Stop, don't. Oxford Street? I was speeding too. That could mean two things, couldn't it? They stopped me and the policeman said, all sarcastic, well, what's going on here then? Yeah, he said. He put his head in the window and he said, where are we going then? Oh, you didn't say it. Not the thing that Jan said. Yeah, I was a bit drunk and a bit angry and I remembered what he said when the policeman stopped him. It'll have to be your place. I live with my parents. Yeah. So they locked you up for the night? Yeah. What do you know? They put me back in the cells. I was going crazy, shouting and everything. It's horrible in there. I know. I mean, you told me. I know. It's really cold and nobody comes when you shout. I was in there for ages. I thought I was going mad. Nothing to do with the drugs you'd been taking all night before that. They impounded the van and I have to pay to get it back. Ugh. It seemed Dan was going in two directions at once, work and jail. Two more directions than usual anyway. I didn't think this was a good time to tell him he'd got something through the post this morning with MOT written all over it. You got a letter from the MOT this morning. Oh, fuck. And so there were we, us, ourselves, being people. Daniel and, well, me too, facing something we couldn't face, apart from each other, over drinks, which would only lose their taste the longer we didn't face it. A beautiful girl with an ugly mother she's going to turn into. Nobody told us about this. We'd have been allowed to go on without a care in the world, without really being in the world at all. Now it was like the Chicken King had shouted, "Roost!" and suddenly the sky is black with the gathering storm. How's Helena? Don't know. Daniel had been mostly back up in London recently. Still in a course, I suppose. This was Helena's fate, to follow a course. It was everybody's fate, if you believed in courses, or fate, or anything. I've got left Terry to sign for the flat for another year. He said he'll go see Rachel. Is he staying then? Moving in with Matilda. But he's staying at college. Taking a year off, but he can still sign. A year off from what? That meant we could keep the flat and see what happened. I'd need time to... what? Daniel had got a job, a midstream sea change for a floundering shipwreck. I blame his... Actually, I blame him. What about me, I thought? He doesn't care about me. I didn't really understand what he'd done. There's a movie where Steve McQueen as a loner has a code, a way. Be honest, decent and true. Be responsible for yourself, but for no one else. He sticks to his principles in spite of the problems they cause him. At the end of the movie, he's somehow abandoned, gutshot and dying, and he says, what happened? Who's Matilda anyway? Daniel looked in his hippie bag for something. You already know what a hippie bag looks like. Cloth with tassels and no zip or clasp or anything. Some fucknote design on the side to represent, I don't know, astral hitchhiking or something. He put a book on the table, rummaged around some more. I turned the book round and looked at the title. Daniel looked up. He used to sleep rough under a tree in Hampstead Heath while he was writing it, you know. Is that why they called it The Outsider? He pulled out some licorice papers from his hippie bag and began rolling a hippie cigarette. Stuart's sister's getting married to some doctor from Stuart's office. When did that happen? Dunno. It's from the same place. How do people do that stuff? Out of all the things you could do. The world is your oyster. But I don't like seafood. I hate the world. I hate it too. Money, TV, God. Yeah, him too. And all that stuff about celebrities, famous for being celebrities. Is that what tautology means? I looked that up in the dictionary and it just said, duh. The reader at the bar turned his broadsheet page, moving his arm in an arc, a gesture you could call expansive if you could be bothered. I couldn't. What happened to genius? Why is it genius to be normal now? People don't do anything, then they're suddenly famous. Yeah, for no reason. No. Or they just fuck someone famous and they're famous for that. Like Diana, she never did anything, just got fucked by Charles. And what did Charles ever do to get famous? Nothing. Birthright, isn't it? Some people are born great. Some people are born great. Some people achieve greatness. And some people have greatness thrust into them. No geniuses anymore. Genii. Sartre says genius is what a man invents when he's looking for a way out. That or a key. How do you know what Sartre said anyway? You told me. What makes you think I know? You told me. The guy at the bar ordered another pint. The barman put the glass under the tap and flipped the tap, put his arms by his sides, looked past us out of the window, which he couldn't see out of it anyway. Stirrups de cella. A way out of what? This zoo. The end. Cheers.